So this is our third time seeing Kenneth Branagh play the esteemed detective Hercule Poirot, and I gotta say, I wanna love doing anything in life as much as he loves rocking that magnificent mustache. I'm jealous, I can't grow something like that. So is this third entry in the trilogy worth watching? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today we're talking about the latest Agatha Christie murder mystery movie, A Haunting in Venice. The story for this one goes like this. In post-World War II Venice, Poirot, now retired and living in his own exile, reluctantly attends a seance. But when one of the guests is murdered, it's up to the former detective to once again uncover the killer. So I'll start this off by saying that I dig these kinds of murder mystery movies. Even when they're not the most well put together thing on the planet, I just think it's fun getting your buddies together in a theater, following the trail of breadcrumbs, and figuring out in real time who the culprit is. When it comes to these movies specifically, I thought the first two were just okay, sort of bland and rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, they're still just harmless murder mystery comfort food. But what I thought was pretty interesting about this third entry is that it hasn't really been adapted to the screen all that much before. I think I saw that it was on television once, but that means that for the most part, unless you're a massive Agatha Christie fan, a lot of us were going into this one not knowing how it was going to unfurl and who the culprit is, so that was just kind of a cool idea heading into this third movie. I thought it was a little bit wacky with just how insane of a tonal shift they were going for in this one, especially when you compare it to the previous two films. Like, the trailer for this movie surprised me a little bit, and I do think it'll affect how its intended audience is able to find it. Like, half the people are going to walk in expecting a paranormal horror movie, and the other half are going to walk in expecting a brass tacks detective story. And since it's a mix of both and they don't lean heavily enough into either aspect, I still think that remains to be true even after seeing it. But I will say, the early Halloween vibes in this thing are immaculate, and it definitely had me ready for October. And a big part of that is because of Kenneth Branagh's skills behind the camera. We all know he's always had a flair for the grand and the dramatic, so post-World War II Venice is the perfect playground for him to be dancing around in here. I mean, this movie's the best kind of travel brochure there is for a city like this. I'm already going to Europe on my honeymoon next year, and I'm like, yeah, Venice, definitely top of the list. And I gotta say, this is probably the best portrayal of this character that Kenneth Branagh has given us. And we don't get too much more in the way of backstory like we did in the second movie, but we're able to peel back some layers by seeing this character go up against something that he doesn't believe in and knows nothing about. And obviously this time I'm talking about paranormal activity. When it comes to the rest of the cast, I thought they were pretty solid, a couple weak links when it comes to some minor characters, but all of the prominent heavy hitter actors that you know are in this movie, they do pretty well. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is a clear standout, her seance scene in the movie is a massive high point, and then Tina Fey and Jamie Dornan, they pulled their own weight, and I enjoyed seeing their characters in this ensemble. And getting more into my negative feelings around this film, and I feel like I say this every video now, but if you've hung around the channel at all, you know that I firmly have my flag planted in the idea that every movie doesn't have to be 2 hours long. I mean, it really feels like movies are just getting longer and longer, but I gotta say, this movie would have benefited from like 20 extra minutes. Give us a little extra meat on the bone, show us more of these characters, have their motivations make more sense. All of that stuff is pretty damn important in a murder mystery movie. Another thing is I wish we saw more of how this detective's brain works while the plot was unfurling in front of us. I just love seeing him piece it all together. We didn't get enough of that, and what we did get was pretty rushed. I honestly felt like I was watching an episode of Jimmy Neutron where he has a brain blast and just cleanly explains everything to us in like 10 seconds. Overall, guys, I think A Haunting in Venice is the most polished and entertaining entry in these Hercule Poirot murder mysteries, but I still think that's not saying all that much, and it leaves a lot to be desired. For as much as it excels with its visuals and atmosphere, it also lacks when it comes to its thrills and narrative. I do think, though, that if you enjoyed the previous two films, there's more for you to like this time around, and since we know what to expect with these Kenneth Branagh movies, it doesn't have to be the next Knives Out or Rear Window for me to have some fun with it. It just doesn't have the rewatchability or the smarts of other entries in the genre. A Haunting in Venice gets a Sully score of 3 stars. So that's my review of the latest Agatha Christie movie. What do you think the best murder mystery film ever made is? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.